So this is an LG 32-inch 4K monitor, and it has one key feature that you won't find anywhere else, and it's this button right here, which I'll get onto later on in the video. First, let's get into the box, where we're provided with a HDMI 2.1 cable, DisplayPort cable, USB cable for the built-in hub, and an external power brick. Of course, we also have the monitor and the monitor stand. There is no remote for it though, which obviously for a desktop monitor, a computer monitor, isn't really common, but LG did include one with their 1440p 240Hz OLED, which they released like last year or the year before. Came with this really neat monitor that made it so much easier to change inputs, to change settings, things like that, without actually having to reach for the monitor itself. So it's quite surprising to see LG not include it in a higher end monitor like this. The monitor stand provided, I actually think, is pretty good. It's got a small footprint and doesn't have an overly gamery look. And there's a ton of movement available, so you can adjust the monitor to the height and angle that you like. You can also rotate it if you want it portrait. I usually like to use my monitor on a monitor arm like this one because I feel like it just frees up desk space and can look cleaner as well. When it comes to ports, there is two HDMI 2.1 ports and one display port. There's also a built-in USB hub and a headphone jack. There is no USB-C port, so you won't be able to do a one cable setup with something like a MacBook. The design. So considering this is part of LG's Ultra Gear gaming lineup, it's pretty subdued in the design, which I definitely think is a good thing. Instead of going for an ultra thin display with a box on the back, LG have gone for a curved housing all the way around the back. I think where LG has really nailed the design though is when it comes to the front of the display. The bezels are equal all the way around. There isn't even any branding on the front. This might just be one of the cleanest looking monitors when viewing it front on. I'll also leave a link to the wallpaper down in the description below. I also want to show you guys my gaming setup itself. So I have a desk from Vernal here, a walnut desk. Perfect size, I think, for a monitor this size, because I found that when you have a monitor this big, 32-inch monitor, it's actually better to have a deeper desk so that you're sitting further away from the monitor. Of course, I have the monitor on a monitor arm. It's just a basic one that I got from Amazon. I do need to get a nicer one so that I can move the monitor around if I need to. I have the cable management system done by LTT, who are also sponsoring this video. So cool to have a channel that I watch myself sponsor a video. And yeah, all the cable management here is done by them, which I'll show you in a second. I have the Deepcool CH160 case, which is an incredible case, by the way. It's so small. Let me show you guys. Let me go around. Just a tiny little case, and it has a 7800X3D and a 4080 Super, and it is silent. Like, you just cannot hear it unless you put your ear literally right next to it. It's incredible how quiet that is. When it comes to the keyboard and mouse, I have the Wooting 80HE, their newest one. Great gaming keyboard that I feel like doesn't look overly gamery. It's just black and simple. And then I have the Logitech G Pro wireless gaming mouse. Oh, my headset is the Corsair HS80, incredible headset as well. Oh yeah, and I have some other accessories. I have a Logitech MX Creative Console and then a Nomad charger for my phone whilst I'm gaming, just so that I can keep my phone topped up. So when it comes to the cables, I have the LTT cable management system, which is basically a suite of products designed to make cable management super easy and flexible, especially in cases where you need to add and remove stuff to your setup without actually having to remove any of the cable management systems. They have these arches in various different sizes, which helps you organize runs of cables, whilst also offering you the flexibility to remanage the cables. There's the magnetic power bar key, which allows you to anchor most power bars and surge protectors to your desk or almost any other smooth surface. And then they also have the magnetic cable tie holders, which help you mount cables to more compact surfaces like a desk, table legs, as well as keeping cable runs tidy between arches. What I also like is that these magnetic plates that you attach to your surface have adhesive on the bottom, so you can just remove this layer and stick it onto wherever you need to stick it onto. I have it stuck onto the bottom of my desk, but of course there is a hole for drilling through as well. So if you feel like the adhesive isn't going to be strong enough, you can drill it straight into the desk. And of course, when that's stuck on, you can then get one of these things, and it is super, super strong. Like, I can even barely move it with my fingers. It is solid. Everything is secured with strong neodymium magnets, ensuring that your parts stay where you want them to stay. So make sure to check out the LTT cable management system. I will leave a link to it down in the description below. One thing you can't see, and there isn't even any indication of it, is the built-in speakers, which are surprisingly good for built-in speakers in a monitor. They're hidden behind the panel itself, which I think is pretty smart design. Now, they're not going to come close to a dedicated pair of speakers or a pair of headphones, but if you do need to listen to something in a pinch, they're actually surprisingly pleasant. When it comes to the display, this is a 4K 240Hz WOLED panel, which means it of course looks incredible when watching videos and playing games. OLED is just superior compared to LED displays, but it does matter where you use your OLED. If you have a room where you can control the light, where you can have a dimly lit room or a dark room, OLED really comes to life. In a room like this where I can control the light, OLED is just a fantastic experience. 4K at 240Hz of course looks amazing when playing games. I feel like there's quite a noticeable difference going from 120 or 144Hz to 240Hz. The responsiveness is just incredible and is great for fast-paced games. This isn't a glossy display though, nor is it fully matte. LG have applied a coating which is sort of in the middle. I usually prefer glossy displays, so when I saw that this had a matte display, I was actually expecting to be a little disappointed, but I had completely the opposite experience. I'm really surprised at how good the matte coating is on this display. Because it's in the middle of a glossy display and a matte display, it still provides a lot of the benefits of a matte display, like anti-reflection. But even then, it also looks as fantastic as a glossy display does. When using the display, you really don't actually notice that it's not fully glossy. I think LG have nailed the in-between look. The key feature though with this monitor, and I think the reason why most people would choose this monitor, is because of the dual refresh rate mode. This is a very rare feature, and I think it's currently the only 4K OLED that offers this. There is a button on the bottom edge of the monitor that lets you switch between 4K at 240Hz to 1080p at 480Hz, essentially giving you the best of both worlds. So I just want to quickly demo the dual mode. I'll press the button, have to give it a few seconds for it to load up. It's pretty quick, and you can see I have the black borders here, but you can actually change how much of the screen it takes up. So if we go to the settings, we can go to dual mode, and you can see here, you can have it on full screen, basically taking up the full screen. And then you can also have it on 27 inches, and then you can also have it on 24 inches. So you have quite a bit of flexibility here. I personally like it on 27 inches. You now have a high resolution 4K 240Hz monitor, which is great for productivity and gaming, as 240Hz is still very fast, but you also now have a 1080p 480Hz monitor, which is perfect for fast-paced games and esports. Now, of course, it can look a little bit odd with the black borders, but when you're watching stuff and you're playing games and are focused on the content on the screen, you actually forget that the black borders are even there. 1080p, of course, also doesn't really look that great at all for productivity related stuff, so it really is only designed to be used when you're gaming. You're essentially getting two monitors in one here, which is what I really think is the unique selling point. Instead of having to buy a high resolution 4K monitor for anything productivity related, and then having to buy another gaming monitor that's 1080p, that's 480Hz, you now have both of them in one. I've been using this monitor for 2 months now as my main gaming monitor, and it is fantastic. Overall, it's a great looking monitor. OLED for me in particular is amazing, and being able to obviously switch between the refresh rates makes it fantastic when I'm playing games. This monitor is definitely targeted towards those who want one monitor for both productivity and intense gaming. LG just also happen to make it look very minimal looking, and it's great for any type of setup. I'm fortunate enough that I get to try lots of different premium monitors. You know, I have this one here, I also have the MSI 321 URX, I have my Pro Display XDR, I have a Studio display, I also have another display on the way, another 4K 240Hz monitor. So I like to think that I have a pretty unique perspective when it comes to displays and monitors and the experience when it comes to them. And I really do think if you're looking for a productivity related monitor that can also be great for gaming when you want to do high refresh rate gaming, there is nothing else like that out this right now. Like, it is an incredible monitor, and if it wasn't for my Pro Display XDR, which I use in my Mac setup, I would definitely be switching to this. I would use this probably as my main monitor.